Welcome to Sharing Socks, the first edition after the no-hitter / toe-hitter game. And we get to talk about that a little bit. I'm Southside Sox duty geezer Leigh Allan. With me, my son and West Coast correspondent Will, and behind him a picture of Carlos Rodón being masterful, which he was on Wednesday, right after we did our last show. Was not so much on Tuesday night, but he gutted his way through. I'm of two minds on that. I mean, he obviously didn't have much. 5 walks, 110 pitches in 5 innings. What bothers me is that he was allowed to throw 110 pitches. You know, he threw 114 in the no-hitter, and obviously you leave a guy in for the no-hitter, even if it's 214 until something happens. But leaving him in to throw 110 this time, when that 114 was to the day 2 years from the last time he'd thrown 100 pitches. And I know he has extra time coming up because the masterminds who schedule Major League Baseball gave us 2 days off in a week. And then you'll go something like 18 straight days somewhere in there because of this stupidity. But I know he got the win. But boy, I would have liked to have seen him just kind of maybe just do 4 innings and 90 pitches and let her go.
I mean, I obviously, of course, that would have been fine as well. I don't really have a problem with him going that long, just because that's what we need to expect from him every time. And I realized that, it was a long time before the no-hitter that he had pitched that much, but he made that look easy. And honestly, he was throwing 97 in the 5th inning. So
on the second game, yeah.
I didn't feel like he was hurting. He was just kind of loosening up as the game was going on. I'm glad he didn't come out for the 6th, of course, which Jason Benetti was even unsure if he was going to do that, or at least pretending to be unsure.
One batter. I think he had a lefty coming up. Yeah,
exactly. And so I actually think it was a good move. Sometimes you just got to let these guys pitch. And when you go out and throw a no-hitter, unless you're saying, I'm tired, you deserve to stay in the game.
They never say that. They never say that. The guy can throw 286 pitches, and the manager comes out and says, well, I think it's fine. No, I got it. I got this guy. I mean, they're major league pitchers. They don't give up.
And if he was saying that while throwing 91-mile-an-hour fastballs, it would have been different. But he's throwing 97. He didn't look beat or anything. To me, it was actually a pretty good outing post no-hitter, post first no-hitter of your career.
They did put up a graphic during the game of guys' first game after the no-hitter, and it was pretty common not to be real sharp.
Yeah, I mean, you're exhausted in a lot of ways, more mentally than anything, I think, because even after 114 pitches, he didn't seem tired really at the end of that game. But you're mentally exhausted. You're going out there, in this case, in almost the exact same scenario, which is also very strange. I definitely think that he had a good first game back from no hitter. His ERA is still just 0.47 or something like that. He's behind
precisely
only Corbin Burns in Milwaukee, who's having, I don't know, the greatest season of all time at this point. And interestingly enough, a guy that we were in sort of vague trade talks with involving Cody Hoyer earlier. And boy, did we freaking miss
that one.
I mean, can you imagine? We were also going to have to give up Vaughn and Madrigal, and that trade was very briefly. I don't think it was ever seriously considered, but I would have happily given up all of that for Corbin Burns. Can you imagine this starting lineup if you take Dylan Cease out and put in Corbin Burns? Holy crap, that's a World Series team.
Oh, I should point out, I forgot to mention right at the opening, this will be a moment of silence while I turn around here.
What do we got? Burley.
Okay. I don't have a Rodón shirt, so this is the closest I can come is to wear a Burley shirt today.
You're left-handed and you're only 1 number off, so that's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. But I was actually really pleased with Rodón yesterday. Here's what I'm going to talk about in yesterday's game. And I texted you about this a little bit. I've tweeted about it. No one else on earth seems to care, but I do care, so we're going to talk about it. Is this BS of giving up on Monday down 6 runs in the 7th inning? What the hell are we doing bringing in position players down 6 runs in the 7th inning? I mean, last night, Cleveland's down 6 runs in the 7th inning. They could have won that game. They
would have won it if Josh Naylor wasn't an idiot.
Absolutely.
Josh Naylor is a total idiot, and we can thank him for 2 things. He saved the no-hitter because everybody knows and is taught from Little League on, you run through first base, it's faster than diving. It's enough faster that he beats Jose to bag. Great play by Jose, not to undo that. But Naylor should have been running. Then he sticks out his right arm.
Yeah, that was the weirdest.
Nowhere near the base instead of his left arm, which also beats Jose at that point. And he saved them. Then he jumps up and is really ticked off and screaming that he got called out.
Well,
and then the one last night.
The thing I'll say about Naylor with the play at first base, he deserved to be out. He deserves to be made fun of. That honestly, the ball hitting the toe didn't piss me off. You can
No.
You can argue
that doesn't tick me off at all.
You can argue for hours that what's his name? What's the catcher's name?
Perez.
Roberto
Perez.
Yeah, you can argue for hours that he could have gotten out of the way. It's a slider.
No,
Carlos Rodón. How the hell do you know? The big thing for me is that slide into first base. That slide into first base down by 8 runs or whatever is so, one, stupid, as we said, but also that is a blatant garbage move to try to end a no-hitter without earning it at all, with no chance of winning the game. And we are very fortunate that Jose Abreu is playing baseball.
Didn't get hurt.
Without a broken knee or a torn meniscus.
Very much.
Because that way that his leg buckled, they talked to Rodón, and Rodón says, my biggest concern was Jose's going to be hurt. And it was that bad looking of a thing. It was an incredible play by Jose. I'm not saying he should have done it. He absolutely should have done it. He did it. That's the kind of guy he is. He is just great. But what really makes me mad is that we are throwing position players down 6 to a team that is expected to be last in the East. I get that they're first right now, but come on. The Yankees are going to win that division. This is just stupid that anyone thinks otherwise right now. And the fact that we gave up in the 7th inning? Are you kidding? Why are you acting like this game doesn't matter? You can win a game down 6 runs in the 7th. And I realize it doesn't look great, but if you don't think you can score 6 runs in 3 innings, then you shouldn't be managing a Major League Baseball team. We should not be giving up games down 6 in the 7th. Down 12 in the 7th, okay, sure. That seems kind of far-fetched. Bringing in a position player down 6 in the 9th, okay. Yeah, I still don't love it, but okay. But this crap, this is all La Russa. This is all La Russa. Why the hell are you giving up a game in April? I mean, you're talking about a sport where this division could be decided by 1 game. And you're telling me you're going to give up any time that you are within 6. You're going to give up any time that it's a 6-run lead with 9 outs to go. I mean, this is it's just crappy managing. It's crappy baseball. A big part of me wanted to see Cleveland come back and beat the crap out of us after being down 6 in the 7th, because that would really
Boston, but yeah. Oh, you mean last night? Yeah,
last night. Yeah. And of course, I didn't really want that, but a part of me was like, if Cleveland comes back and wins this, La Russa should be fired, because that means that we gave up a game that we absolutely should not have given up on. And I am actually passionate about that. I could not believe it when I saw Yermín Mercedes pitching 40 miles an hour in the 7th inning of a major league.
No, Yermín was pitching up into the 70s. It was Mendick who was throwing 40.
I think he even threw an 81 mile an hour pitch. So.
Yeah, he went into the 80s a couple times.
And honestly, I'm not upset about the way Yermín pitched or the way that Danny Mendrick pitched. They weren't our worst pitchers of the day. However, come on. Just because Giolito has a bad inning doesn't mean that the game is over. We acted like that game was over after the first. That is shameful. That is crappy baseball, and that is not a team that deserves to go to the playoffs. They got to change that mentality right now. That is unacceptable. That's my rant.
Okay, you brought up something, and I just want to interject in the defense of Roberto Perez. There were some people going, "Oh, you got to throw it, Perez. You should have got nothing." What you're doing, it's a slider, a very good slider, because Carlos Rodón is a very sharp slider. You're take a batting stance. Anybody who thinks he should have gotten out of the way, take a batting stance. Now, take your weight forward as if you're going to swing, but no, I'm not going to swing. So your weight comes back. Your weight is on your back foot. You then have, with the weight on your back foot, maybe at most 2/100ths of a second to figure out that the ball may hit it. Move your foot in 2/100ths of a second. Go ahead with your weight on it back. You can't do it. There's no way Perez gets it.
Don't know that the ball is going to hit you. That's the
No.
other thing. This is a slider from one of the currently best sliders in baseball of the 2021 season. I mean, we have seen incredible sliders. How the heck does that guy know it's going to go off the tip of his toe? Also, you know what hurts like hell? A ball going off the tip of his toe. There is no way. This wasn't an Adam Eaton pretending I'm getting out of the way, but actually extending my arm brace so that you hit it.
I mean, if you want to complain about people getting hit by pitches, Eaton to me is almost criminal in it.
Oh,
because not only does he wear the armor on the elbow, which a fair number of guys do, but he lets the flap come down so that he doesn't even get hit on the armor. He gets hit on the little flap and gets to take it. That should not be allowed. I mean, that should absolutely be banned. If you're going to wear the armor, you have to wear it tight around your elbow. And that's our guy, and he does it. And I'm glad that he's hitting very well anyway, and doing very well and helping the team. And that's great, because not that many guys are hitting. I still don't like Adam Eaton. And I think that's a cheap play.
It's absolutely cheap. I think it's ridiculous. The umps have lost all courage in terms of calling people out on that. You saw someone get hit by a pitch from Mendick or Yermín the other day that was going
61 miles an hour.
61 miles an hour, and the guy lets him take his base. I mean, come on. This is getting out of hand. It is ridiculous. That being said, Perez, absolutely, I have no problem with it. A big part of throwing a perfect game, you can't hit someone. He didn't move into the ball moved into him. It hit him fair and square. I think there's nothing to even complain about. The no-hitter was amazing. It was so cool. I mean, talk about an exciting thing. You hit a guy, you ruin the perfect game, but you still get the shot at the no-hitter and you do it. That is so exciting. Rodón, I mean, what a performance. And
it wasn't, I mean, there were a couple nice plays, but it wasn't one, and you have no hitters of this nature, where there were just amazing plays that saved all kinds of things. There are a couple nice plays. Obviously, Jose's at first base, helped by Naylor. Leury with a nice grab. But by and large, he just mowed him down.
Yeah. I mean, he looked incredible. And I honestly think we're going to see that Rodón again in 5 days. I mean, I think
7 days in this case. He does have extra time because the day's off.
Yeah, which is great. And I mean, I expect him to come back rocking it. I was really pleased with yesterday. I think yesterday could have been a train wreck. It's really hard to pitch after a no-hitter, especially when you're, still kind of getting used to pitching in the big leagues. And he did a great job. I'm sure if we look at Phil Humber's perfect game, I bet the game after that he gave up 47 runs or something.
Of course, Phil Humber's career was over after that. So
right, yeah,
he just was never there again. Although we saw him pitch after that, and he did okay, but it didn't do okay for very long. Now tonight, we're recording this early Wednesday afternoon, with a game at 5 o'clock Central, and we're right now around 12:30 Central. The pitcher for the White Sox tonight is the old TBD, And I guess you have to be TBD before you can be TBA, because you can't announce until after you've determined. Interesting. They brought up Alex McRae. I would not be the least bit surprised to find out that McRae is the starter, but he'll probably be somewhere in the mix. The bullpen, other than Evan Marshall, who seems to be recovering from an awful start, has looked like crap. So a bullpen game is going to be a very difficult thing to get through. I would guess Mr. La Russa will earn his millions of dollars today if he manages them to a victory, because the bullpen has just not been sharp at all.
Well, then we just got to hope they don't go down by 6, because that's when TLR throws in the towel. So, honestly, I've obviously Tony has made just a slew of terrible managerial decisions this year. He has been a shell of his former managerial self, and Sunday or Mondays, just absolute rolling over and dying in a game that was not over is just a terrible sign of things to come with him. It's just complete delusion on how to win a baseball game. I'm really mad at him. If you can't tell, Tony, come on the pod, defend yourself. I know you won't because you're a coward, but that's okay. Anyway, moving on. I guess we should take a break. Let's take a break. I'll cool down. We'll come back. We can talk a little bit about hitting, and hope that we get some at some point. Although yesterday was okay. But yeah, we will be right back. All right. Welcome back to Sharing Socks. Thanks for listening. Geezer, go ahead and steer us somewhere.
I thought we got helped in the Tuesday night game a lot by Cleveland, and even my write-up, I said this Cleveland's usually a very smart team because they're managed by Jerry Francona. I think they're a stupid team, Naylor particularly, but they threw. Steve Stone is up in our box, and he's just an announcer. He's a great analyst of pitching, but he's an announcer. The guys on the Cleveland bench should know this, that Yoán Moncada, what did I say, 1 for 38 against breaking pitches. I may have that number wrong, but that's approximately right. He cannot hit a breaking pitch this year. He's just not doing it. And they threw him a fastball, and Stoney goes, well, that's amazing. I'm just shocked they threw him a fastball on that. That's a real mistake to do that. And then they threw him another one, which he laced into the gap for a double. And that set off the 4-run inning that ended up winning the game. Without that double, with Moncada just making an out, even a double play, that inning doesn't happen. So it was Cleveland's stupidity to throw too fast. And it's not like they had a guy who couldn't control his breaking pitches. He was controlling his breaking pitches better than his fastball. So that was just such a dumb move. And thank you. And that helped you on stay at an even 200 batting average. Jose, of course, had a great night with 2 homers, including a 458-footer. I mean, he had a third hit, came after Moncada's double. So he broke out last night. Let's hope that that's not just an odd night and that he is starting to warm up. He technically does need to warm up, but it's strange that he warmed up on sub-zero wind chills or whatever it was last night. But yeah, he started hitting okay. Luis Robert is wonderful. I mean, he's just smacking the ball all over the damn place. Timmy, since he came back from the IL, fantastic. So we've got some guys who are fantastic. Timmy and Luis, I mentioned, and of course Yermín. We've got also Madrigal's hitting fine. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Put the ball into play all the time, and he's hitting 300, I think, or maybe even a little over. 280. So you got 4 slots there, and Eaton, I think, has slowed down a little, but he's hitting fine. Nothing to complain about with Adam Eaton's hitting. But that's 5 spots in the lineup, and then if Jose is around, okay, then we're suddenly becoming a hitting team. But this idea preseason that there's not a weak spot in this lineup, we're top to bottom, we're great. Okay, one opens up because of Eloy, but then it gets closed up because of Yermín. this is not a top to bottom hitting team. We've got bunches of guys hitting in the 100s. Vaughn is down there. Moncada is barely at 200. The two catchers, Grandal got the homer last night, which raised his average into the 140s, maybe 150. Collins is hitting, Barry Collins is 129. As usual, spring training meant nothing. He is catching better. I think his defense is definitely better. His hitting is just what it has always been and apparently always will be. He's not a major league hitter. Very big disappointment in Leury.
Leury is in a really tough spot. He has to turn it around right now because he's going to lose his job. He is just going to straight up lose his job. He is playing the worst we've seen him play. I mean, he had a nice defensive play during the no-hitter, but we are not seeing anything from Leury that we needed Leury to be doing and what we had faith in Leury doing. I don't even know if we can trade him for anything at this point.
He's got no value.
Bad. That if he doesn't turn it around here, he's going to be out of the major leagues in a couple months. I do firmly believe that. He has just looked completely lost at the plate. Completely.
All these bunts that he's doing, which I'm sure were on his own. I'm sure they were not called bunts, and they were both popped straight up in the air. Come on, if you're going to be a guy who bunts to get on, which I think is a good thing. I know there are people say you should never bunt under. I think the bunt to get on is a very good thing if you can do it. But you have to know how to bunt. Stoney's pointed this out too. He doesn't bunt right. He drops the head of the bat. You're taught from the time you're in coach pitch, you don't drop the head of the bat if you're bunting.
Well, it's because, and the reason you drop the head is you are sending the bat at the ball. That's not what you.
Yeah, you're not catching it. You're supposed to catch it. That's a whole
Yeah. Stoney.
Yeah, he's got the virtue that he can play anywhere, and they need that.
But he can't play great anywhere. That's the other problem, is he's not looking great in the field. His arm is looking very weak on a lot of throws. I'm really not impressed with anything I've seen of him overall in terms of defense. His hitting is terrible. I think his major league career is in trouble, and I don't like saying that because I like Leury. I like that we had this sort of weird wild card player who was kind of good. Zach Collins, I think, needs to be done. He needs to go back to the minors. Jake Lamb, I think, needs to just be out of here. Nick Williams needs to be out of here. It's just shameful. Andrew Vaughn needs to go.
Williams is gone.
Grandal. I mean, Grandal is, I don't know. I don't know what you do with him because right now I would say trade Grandal. But who wants Grandal? He's hitting
he's $15 million a year for the next 250 years. Nobody's taking that.
Exactly.
And I'm surprised because La Russa does seem willing to gamble on some things defensively, like putting Vaughn into left field. I am surprised that Mercedes is not yet caught. Even why Mercedes, he should have come in that game. If you're going to say we're 7 runs down, let's try some weird stuff. He should come in to catch.
Agreed. Totally.
He was not, I don't think he's a great catcher by any means. Could he be adequate? He throws people out. He's done that in both the spring trainings that he's been around. He throws people out like crazy.
Bringing
so he controls base runners.
Is not the same as bringing him into pitch. Bringing him into catch is something where you could actually discover a useful thing for your baseball team to win games. Bringing him into pitch is quitting. I love Yermín. I think it's so fun that he went to pitch, whatever. I'm not really interested in position players pitching, but I totally agree. Yermín should have been moved to catcher. We got to see if someone can catch, because what does Grandal do? He's playing Little League behind the plate, too.
Tuesday, two catcher's interference, a wild pitch that should have been blocked. It wasn't a rough one, and a pass ball.
Insane.
Yeah, it's terrible behind the plate. And then I saw some defenses of, the catcher's interferences are coming up everywhere because of the emphasis on framing. I'm sorry. If you frame a low pitch, the best you have done, if you are lucky, is caught the umpire to make a mistake and gotten strike instead of a ball. If you catcher's interference, you've put a guy on first base. There's a difference in the damage done in those two things. It's crazy. I mean, his defense is awful, and it's just but you can't get rid of all your catchers. You need them. Somebody's got to catch.
I can't believe we're sitting here dealing with the problem of Yasmani Grandal not being able to hit or play his position. I mean, this is insane. We're giving $15 million to a guy who's a waste of space right now. And even yesterday,
I thought last night, and it kind of took me, our guy hitting an important 2-run homer. And it kind of ticked me off his look because he hit that homer. And yes, everybody does a little thing when they hit a homer that they know it's a homer. But his look, and maybe it's just his face, but his look was of such arrogance. You're hitting 150. How arrogant, and you've blown a bunch of plays this very game. How arrogant can you be? Hit the home run, flip the bat if you like, smile like you're really happy you did this because you haven't done it, and go about your game.
I love the bat flip when somebody crushes a home run in a key situation and it goes to outer space. I think it's great.
Yeah, go for it.
You're getting paid. But when you're talking about a ball that for a minute maybe was going to stay in the park,
yeah,
the right fielder went back like, wait a second, is this even?
I may have this. Yeah,
and it ended up being out by a couple rows, but like that bat drop, I was like, no. This is the guy who gets up and is like screaming cuss words and cheering after sacking the backup quarterback down 7 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. It's the same type of celebration. Yasmani, you can celebrate when you learn how to catch again. Like this is just crazy.
Celebrate was fine. I was fine with celebrate. If he wants to do a backflip and jump up in the air, he should be celebrating because he hasn't hit a damn ball all year. Sure, be really happy. I'm glad for you. But that look of come on.
Oh my gosh. And he does it every time he hits a left-handed home run. He always does that. But the problem with this one was he really didn't get all of it. And that was, I mean, if you're going to gloat, you got to earn it. When Timmy hits his walk-off home run or whatever and slings the bat and cheers, he earned it. He went up there and won a baseball game. Or if somebody hits a ball 484 feet, you earned it. That's a remarkable feat even for a pro baseball player. But to hit a very sort of routine 2-run homer while you're batting at that time, probably 139 or something. I mean, come on, dude. Like the arrogance there is really troubling. And then to just go out and screw up a whole game. I mean, he is just a disaster. I don't know what we're going to do. I would love to see Yermín catch. I think they got to try it. They got to see if we can have someone behind the plate. Collins, of course, caught the no-hitter, but I don't buy for a second that he actually was the reason that happened. It's just
but I do think he's a much better catcher this year.
He's better for sure.
He looks much more confident back there. He is not getting a constant stream of wild pitches that really should have been blocked. That kind of thing. I think he's much better. The hitting, though, I just think he's not a major league hitter and never will be.
He was previously a liability. He's not a liability anymore, but Grandal is, and that is crazy to me. I mean, I don't know if that is just no work ethic, if that is just not taking practice seriously. I don't understand how Grandal has gotten so fundamentally bad at baseball for this season. It's wild. It's like
it's a reminder of his World Series a few years ago.
I mean, right. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's really disappointing. And, we've got some good stuff happening. Like you said, Luis looks like.
Luis is great right now. Great.
I was texting with Bill Mankey, who's from Southside Sox, and we were both just saying, he's figured it out. I honestly don't think we have to worry about him again. I wasn't worried about him before because I just knew he was going to learn. The guy is just so naturally gifted at this sport.
Well, and he's attacking early now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of first pitch, not first because they're not throwing a first pitch fastballs anymore. So maybe he lets the first one go, takes the second pitch somewhere. but he's attacking early enough that the wipeout slider, which for him is just a total wipeout. I mean, if you got the 2 strikes on him, you don't even have to throw a good slider. It could be halfway up the first baseline, and you've got him. So he's not getting 2 strikes very often.
Well,
and that's a big key.
I think I texted you that last week. I was like, if Luis doesn't start jumping on the first pitch, his season's going to be like this. It's going to be terrible because even though they'll throw him sliders on the first pitch, they're throwing him in the strike zone. And he can actually hit a slider in the strike zone as long as it's not.
Yeah, it's not like he's feeble against a breaking pitch.
As long as it's not like a beautiful slider, he can hit a slider in the strike zone. The problem is he can't tell when they're not in the strike zone. So if he gets 2 strikes, he's just done. No one's going to throw him anything anywhere near the plate. And I think it's so great to see him coming out there, jumping on it, the first pitch or at least the second pitch. He's not letting himself get 2 strikes. He's not letting himself get behind. I think we're going to see an over 300 season from Luis Robert, hands down. Hot take of the day, I think we're going to see a 300 season from Yoán Moncada as well. And I know that he is struggling to start, but man, when he hits it, he's on. It's just a matter of getting used to those breaking pitches again. Last year, we kind of have to treat as a rehab assignment, and he's still coming back from that. And, we're seeing honestly, some really solid third base play from him.
Oh, yeah. No, defensively excellent. Yeah.
He has gone from a guy who, he's made some mistakes this year, but he has gone from a guy who it was like, well, we've got Moncada at third because where else do you put him? He's fine. To now it's like, oh, no, Moncada is becoming an elite defensive third baseman in front of our eyes. And the fact that he's getting better at defense makes me feel like the legs are coming back. They are there, and we're going to see him start to unleash. I don't think he's going to see a fastball for a while, so they're going to have to well, except tonight against Cleveland, he'll see only fastballs for some reason. We are going to see him have to get back to hitting breaking balls, but we've seen him do it before, and he can do it again. I'm not worried about that.
Question: Adam Engel is supposed to be back end of the month. Adam Engel has to go onto the team. He has to be one of the 26. He's too important.
Yeah.
Who goes out?
Vaughn. I mean, Vaughn right now. You send him to the
although, boy, last night, that play he made saved the game. The play he made against Jose Ramirez.
That was,
wow.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I'm not saying that Andrew Vaughn isn't a Major League Baseball player.
He's a Major League first baseman, but we have one.
Exactly. We just don't have a place for him right now. We messed up the service time thing, but sorry, I don't have sympathy for Reinsdorf losing money in that. I don't care. He needs to go back to the minors because if he gets his real work, I think he's going to be an excellent Major League Baseball player. But the dude has only played single A. You throw him in left field where he's
never played. Apparently, he played at Summits when he was in Little League or something.
He actually played left field okay for a guy who's never played.
He did.
And is thrown out there for Major League Baseball. I was a pretty good fielder in my heyday. If you put me in left field in Major League Baseball, I can tell you exactly how many balls I'd catch. 0. And if every single one was hit to the spot I was standing in, I catch 0 of those. So he's done what he needed to do. He kept us alive, but I don't even think it's let's get rid of Andrew Vaughn to give the White Sox a better chance. I think it's you send Andrew Vaughn down so that
Andrew Vaughn a better chance.
Because right now, you're actually only hurting his long-term career chances. You're not letting him build up to the majors like he deserves to get to do. And I think you send Vaughn back down when Engel comes in because Vaughn, the minor leagues will be starting back up. You need Vaughn in the minor leagues. You send him to AAA. You don't send him all the way down. You give him a real shot.
No, Charlotte, absolutely.
You send him to Charlotte, where he will probably rake. He will probably get his confidence back up. You can give him reps in the outfield if you want to, but also, you can start preparing him as our first baseman of the future. Because Jose's not a young guy. I mean, he's still great. We're not getting rid of Abreu anytime soon. But we need to be looking at what we can actually use Andrew Vaughn for and not just think that, oh, he was a high draft pick, so he can come in and play Major League Baseball for us.
Of course, in a way, the incredible success of Yermín Mercedes is what messed up this whole concept of what the White Sox had.
Yeah,
Because
for
you did
sure.
not expect Mercedes to come out and hit 600 for a while and hit 400 now, 18 games into the season. You expected Vaughn to be the designated hitter, so he'd get regular playing time at a situation he's comfortable with. He can play first base, so Jose can do some DHing and rest his aging legs, which are in pretty good shape. But still, give him some time there, even though he doesn't like it. Have him occasionally DH. But now, because you can't get Mercedes out of there because he's hitting incredibly, I think sooner or later the league figures out something with him. He's already slowing down a little bit from the unbelievable.
I mean, I hate to say it. But I don't think that Yermín thing is gonna make it this season. I really don't. I think it's gonna be a really tough decision at some point in June or July where we say bye to Yermín, and
I think it should be preceded. That decision should be preceded by Yermín catching.
No, I agree. If he can get behind the plate and show us that he's actually valuable there, then you absolutely keep him. You keep him.
Then Collins is gone,
and you send Collins down, because Collins right now he's not offering us much of anything other than okay work behind the plate. But I do, when Yermín started so hot, I was like, oh, this is so fun, this is so great, and this is gonna be heartbreaking.
I don't think he's ever going to be bad. He's a good hitter. It's not that he's getting lucky on hits. He's a smart hitter. He's adjusting intelligently to what pitchers are throwing. He's going to hit well. He's not going to hit 400, but he's going to hit solidly. But it sure be nice if he did that as a catcher.
I'm not being a negative Ned here. I'm gonna say Yermín ends this season hitting 225.
No, I'm going to go 280.
280?
Yeah.
If he's hitting 280, he definitely should make it the whole year. Because we don't, have a ton of guys who do that. The big concern for me too is just, and we'll wrap up here in a second. But the big concern for me too is our on base percentages are just terrible.
Well, and that's a little misleading on the plus side, because we had those 2 games with, I think, between them 19 walks.
Yeah,
because they put and they weren't brilliant. Oh man, they staved it off with 14 foul balls. It was all pitchers who couldn't come anywhere near the plate, so you didn't have a choice but to take a walk. They're doing much better on walking in normally, but
our only MVP over 400 is Yermín, and our only one that is above there's one at 351. Luis is at 351. He's heating up. Eaton's at 262, a lot of which has to do with being hit by pitches, I'm sure. And after that, I mean, it is really, really weak. It is some bad on-base percentages, some really bad ones. I mean, you got Nick Madrigal, whose on-base percentage is 350. He's hitting 283. If Nick Madrigal's hitting 283, his on-base percentage has got to be higher than that. It's got to be higher than that. The guy he's 3 feet tall. He's only got 4 walks. And I realize
that's a walk every, 15 trips, something like that.
And he's tiny, and he puts the bat on the ball every time. So that means he's going to be seeing a lot of stuff that's not in the strike zone. So give him credit for only having 2 strikeouts, credit where credit's due. He's amazing at not swinging and missing. However, 4 walks for your little second baseman who has no strike zone, leading to a 350 on base percentage off a 283 batting average, that is not good. That is something to keep an eye on. That is not where we need him to be. And I still have a lot of hope for this team. I told Bill yesterday that the ALCS I still absolutely think is going to be Yankees White Sox. We're only 18 games in. I mean, come on.
Oh, no. I think we're going to win the division. And I didn't think that at the beginning, but I think it now, despite the various negatives that we've had, especially the bullpen. Bullpen worries me a lot. The Twins have already had COVID problems. That means that they're going to go into the season with double headers all over the damn place. That's just grinding, even if they're 7 innings. Yeah, that's just grinding you down.
Yeah, I mean, I think the COVID stuff's still going to be a big factor throughout this season, and I agree. I actually wasn't sure, but now seeing Rodon and even seeing Cease not be great by any means, but I do actually think we're going to see more improvement from him as we go. I do think the bullpen is only going to get better. I
I
mean,
do, however, to go back to the name we haven't mentioned, I worry a lot about Keuchel.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said before, he was always my biggest question mark in the rotation going into this year, and he remains that. But we'll see what happens, and if we end up playing a bunch of 7 inning games, then Keuchel becomes a little more valuable because he's only going to throw 4 or 5 innings, but that doesn't matter as much if you're playing 7. It doesn't matter nearly
Same for Cease.
if you're playing 9. Same for Cease. So there's your doubleheader guys right there. But we got to wrap it up. We have gone long today. Sorry, it was a very passionate episode of Sharing Socks. Enjoy the game today. I'm so excited to see TBD pitch. He's been like one of the top people in our farm system.
Scheduled over and over and hasn't had a chance.
I know he's always there and he gets scratched at the last second. So I'm just excited to see him. Any final thoughts, Geezer?
No.
All right, then that's all we have for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Sharing Socks.